there's a lot of amazing things that you guys are doing through SoundMinds, and I'm interested to hear maybe just a little bit of the history, mission, vision. Share with us what, who is SoundMinds?
SoundMinds. So SoundMinds is a nonprofit that we just started this calendar year. So we started in January. A lot of the work is kind of a springboard of a lot of work that Tim had done previously for the last 4 to 5 years. But SoundMinds is all about bringing music and other expressive arts to help improve the overall health, well-being, quality of life to individuals, helping them get through the aging process in a quality manner. And everyone's going through the aging process. It's where you are on that continuum.
We're all aging.
Kind of where we're starting, and certainly where my heart is with the dementia and Alzheimer's population, the elderly in general. But we think this could easily expand into other areas. So there's a few ways that we bring music into an environment to help someone's health and well-being. One is around personalized playlist. And it's not just, I bet that you're a Sinatra fan. Let's just pump in Sinatra and expect you to love it. No, it's, again, what Tim referred to earlier, what's meaningful to that person, what that person probably listened to ages 15 to 25 in that area. It's just they respond, and you can tell right away when you're doing that. And there's such things as rousing playlist. I'm having trouble getting my wife kind of going in the mornings to go to our doctor's appointment. That might be a good time for a rousing playlist. We all know those songs that get us fired up. And on the flip side, oh my gosh, it's time to go to bed. We need to calm folks down, and so there's a calming playlist. There's certainly some songs I go to when I'm wanting to calm down. So, that's the beauty of that.
Sounds like you're prescribing music.
That's exactly what we'd like to do. And it's weird coming from someone who was in the pharmaceutical industry for 28 years that worked on things that actually could be prescribed. This very much should be looked at it the same way. That again, these are things that are, if used properly, can absolutely have very similar benefits without the side effects. So it's great.
At Butler, I approach my friends in pharmacy want me to provide them with a lecture on non-pharmacological interventions for pharmacy majors. I say, great, we've got this little project. If your students are interested in learning to self-prescribe music, is that okay? And the response was, absolutely, give us the material, we'll disseminate it beforehand. You do the lecture, they turn in their own playlist. If that's what it takes for them to be certified level 1, we can plan on the next step after that. So I'm giving these pharmacy and physician assistant students at Butler an overview of the music that lights them up with an awakening for lots of examples, which one of these work for you. And it's funny to watch when someone likes the music that they like, they jump in and sing with you. So if, for example, Sweet Caroline, bum, 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 and then I remind them that Neil Diamond didn't write that for the voices, and they don't care because they're at a wedding reception, they're with their friends, they're singing along in the most wonderful time of life. And while I'm saying that, they're showing it. This class, the last semester, when I presented, and I'm recalling that song, there were 83 students in the class. They were lit up, animated. They had to tell their friends about how funny it was, where they were when they last sang that song. And the teacher is beaming because the topic is non-pharmacological interventions. And she's delighted that
We've just intervened.
We just
right
intervened.
here.
So if a student can do that, and who's going into pharmacy, how much could the rest of us advantage from that? That's just playlist building. You want to keep
So
going?
that's personalized playlist building. Live music is another one. And it's not just, hey, and let's make sure that we impress the folks with your guitar solo. It's not about guitar solo. It is when I go to my concerts, but it's not in this case. It's the engagement. And your project is all about this. But it's the engagement. It's how you treat the folks. It's how you get the whole group, involved. It's teaching, training our live music performers to know the audience and to, reference, some things of that era And it's more than just, again, just one-way communication. It needs to be a dialogue.
Yeah.
And to
So-
dialogue with them. So after they've done one of these engaging sing-alongs or performances, they interact with the people who they've been entertaining to say, I noticed you lifted up when we did that polka. Now, what made you think about that? And to listen and engage, and the person says, I just love polkas. And for the student who's learning their craft to come back and say, well, let me look at some more polkas and I'll be back. And when we get together again, I would do some more polkas with you. Would that be all right?
Mm.
You know the interesting thing? Those people may forget lots of things, but on the last list of things they would forget are that young person who talked to them about polkas and they're back.
Yeah.
When our students, they journal about making visits, when they make those visits, it's interesting that they go through I'm uncomfortable dealing with old people. We don't belong here. I got in and I'm not as scared, but I'm curious about where they are. And then, they didn't put me off. They seemed to like that I was there helping them. And then the big one, they remembered I was the music person. I was there to bring them their happy time.
Mm-hmm.
It gets sad when someone passes away. And our students can sometimes need counseling. It's helpful. The experience that they have at the very end is, this was so transformative for me, I think I need to know more. And we kept track of the number of people who are interested in volunteering for our work after one of these intense courses were done. 86%. The number of people who wanted to continue and to pursue it for fun or volunteering or for career was really, really high, 86% when we were tracking it. It's huge.
So that's
So you've mentioned playlists, live music.
Music and movement.
Mm.
We referred to that a little bit earlier. Tim is great at this. I've seen him quite a few times, start doing his magic in front of folks. And before you know it, the entire room is doing aerobics. And they had no idea. And heart rate's up and flexibility was probably increased and cardiovascular. And again, the audiences that we're dealing with primarily need that. And it's so boring to go, I don't like exercising. But when you bring music in, you can hardly not.
Yeah.
And so,
Exactly.
again, this is not going to be, rigorous where they're going to be dripping sweat at the end.
Yeah.
But again, just anything to get the flexibility, get the
Full
cardiovascular
engagement.
going.
Yeah.
And so many, assisted living or memory centers that we've talked to, that's something that they're all trying to do, but all trying to do better. And so we think that we can partner with a lot of places to actually do it better.
So our physical education and science people are saying, well, let's focus on the three most important things that we couldn't do without music. Cardio, range of motion, and socialization. Can we deliver those three things? And it became immediately clear, absolutely. If you put on the music someone loves, they're going to move to it, and they will tolerate more range of motion to stretch muscles and bones and joints that we're not normally going that far to say, it's just a little bit more because the music is helping me do that. And I'm doing it with all my friends. So we're together. And if you can do that, I'll do it too. And I'm going to encourage, you can do it, let's try this together. It hits on huge factors, not only for the older folk, but the people who are working with them.
Yeah.
We notice that young people working with older folk to do cardio, range of motion, socialization, get a reward, an aha moment that there is another world other than mine. I'm on this conveyor belt and I'm aging, and what I'm doing for them, someone else, I hope, would do for me. That's huge. So that's music and movement.
Yeah.
So,
Is that it? That's all right?
No. We discovered early on that there were a lot of places that were just not safe. It's dangerous. level of.
How?
From a sound standpoint.
Yeah, acoustically. There are a number of places where it might be safe for OSHA, that's for daytime occupational standards. It might be, but it certainly not qualifies as a residential place to live, a home. And nursing homes are year-round, they're 24/7. And being in that environment, we started looking at guidelines, World Health Organization guidelines, very, very specific, very detailed. For you to get rest, it has to be quiet enough for a long enough sustained period of time within certain frequencies. It's not just decibels, it's frequency ranges. And if there are little spikes, 20 millisecond spikes, where there's a little fire, imagine someone standing behind you with a little cap gun, and they're going to fire the cap gun sometime in the next minute. That sound of that anticipation prevents people from sleeping. Sound safe is rare in nursing homes. And our research is raising all kinds of red flags in that arena. So while we're building this environment of beautiful sound experiences, we're discovering that the environment is unable to support that quality of life.
There's a lot of background ambient noise that we need to first lower to have all of these positive effects of the activities. Yeah, so, and it's, you know, some socialization goals have been working against this. You know, a lot of new facilities, hey, let's make a really big center and have everyone there and make the walls,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
looking modern and this and that. But oh my gosh, when everyone's in there and they're all eating and they're all hitting, you know, silverware against their china plate, it's kind of loud. And so at volumes that, again, aren't really, you know, appropriate for people that don't have dementia, let alone people that might be a little discombobulated, you know, with loud sounds. So we're finding a lot of people are interested, especially chains of facilities where there might be more than one facility, to kind of compare them and tell us where you're hearing, you know, some issues. You know, why is this facility so much different than this facility? Some of it's just training,
Yeah.
acknowledgement for the staff of, you know, tips and tricks, and, you know,
Tone of
be
voice
conscious of
or-
this. That's right.
Well, it's a cumulative. Our bodies, not just our ears, our bodies are responsive to noise, to vibrations, in the extreme. And we may not hear some frequencies that really disturb us, but it's cumulative. And all of those noises, those vibrations together, have an impact on us, with our hearing and without. So if you think about all the places sound could come from, yes, other people is the biggest one. We could be all a lot more sensitive to other people's noise level tolerances. But it also comes from mechanical sources. And the obvious one is heating, ventilation, air conditioning. What in the contract world, HVAC. That's a major culprit. But if there's a big fan in the top of a tower, for example, in a building, and that isn't perfectly level, just that slight wobble can throw that whole thing off and make the rest of the ceiling and the walls wobble like the head of a timpani. And it's huge that we're not aware of because it's always there. We assume these are the working conditions, or this is the living condition, and when in fact, we're living inside two timpani heads, these walls. That was the case in one of the nursing homes that we worked with. The lights, the amount of electricity that's running through a building produces, every time there's a change in the electricity, a step up or a step down or a connection, it produces resistance. That resistance isn't just measurable with heat, it's a vibration. Street traffic, terrible. Insulation from the cold or from the heat helps to reduce noise, but it doesn't or it helps to reduce temperature, but it doesn't necessarily eliminate the sound. And our friends at Acoustic Therapeutics that are partnering with SoundMinds have this motto: if smoke or water can get in, sound will get in. And so testing and treating for unacceptable, unsafe levels of noise is our fourth project.
And then all of these, background noises, ambient noises start building up, and then you find yourself talking louder to get over that, and then the air handling unit turns off and everyone's screaming and like, oh my gosh, is it really that loud? And so yeah, it's just, so there's
Accumulation.
That's right.
We're
So again, there's physical changes that can be made, there's process changes, there's training, there's ways to get people to talk at. So yes, and TVs are cranked up.
Yeah,
in
medical
places.
equipment.
Oh yes.
And, yeah.
Pushing the food cart down the hall when it's metal wheels on a tile floor, just, there's lots of things.
They know it, so I'm going to ask you, can you think of one of the places where we care the most for quality of life, the most emergency, exciting and important places that we can all go to be healed, and it is the worst place for sound?
I mean, the emergency room?
I assume hospitals.
Hospitals, especially emergency rooms, but hospitals, the
Yeah.
noise level, when I take my decibel meter into a hospital, it's atrocious because they've dealt with all of the other things, how to keep it clean, how to be able to clean it quickly if there's an issue, how to be able to roll these carts back up and down the halls. We have hard floors, hard walls, hard ceilings, and lots of equipment that makes different kinds of sounds that were never isolated to begin with. And they're all in the same room at the same time.
Yeah.
So here's not only the patient or the resident, whoever's trying to live or be there, living with that amount of turn on the lights, turn on the sound, wake up, it's time for your sleeping pill. But it's the surgeons, the nurses, the day-to-day workers who are in that environment, who are bombarded by that amount of sound. It's not just exhausting. The stress level takes its toll, and we suspect if we could create a more peaceful, quiet facility across the board, in hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living, independent living, and in our own homes, we would raise the quality of life exponentially. By doing this work, I have been delightfully immersed in my own mornings in the quiet with just the birds chirping outside. The decibels are really low, and I'm basking in the peace, the mysterious wonder of it all, noticing little tiny sounds that I would have lost. Once we lose our hearing, it does not return. Our hearing is one sense that we can never turn off. And the saddest part is that abusing it for a long period of time, or doing it immediately, once, too loud, the hearing loss is permanent. And that would be one of the saddest things. With a deaf brother and a deaf sister, I experienced firsthand, this is one of my motivations, big motivator. I saw how ostracized a person who could not hear the music was immediately. It's an instant leveler. You will never, ever experience this, what I'm experiencing, and there's no way I can translate to help you understand it, even through sign language. This is a sign language for singing. This is not singing. And my heart aches for my siblings and their spouses and one of their families and all of the people who have a hearing impairment or total deafness, because they cannot experience those intricacies. They do through other parts of their body. It's not exclusive, but it certainly is a damper. It does eliminate a whole bunch of social interaction through impairment or deafness.
I appreciate you sharing that personal story.